Yes.
This has to do with more about Philadelphia, you know, in a general sense, and it's, you know, obviously open to Gil and Ron. And about, you know, one of the things that really interests me about golf history is the you know, Tom talks about steeplechase architecture, the early cop bunkers, geometric look, and how that was prevalent in Philadelphia. And Philadelphia was early on kind of moving away from that, whether it was Wilson, Crump, Flynn, where it was a more naturalistic look and tie-ins and care to make something look like it was more by nature than by man. You've been around the world, both of you. You know, you've built around the world. Where do you see Philadelphia from a perspective sense in the evolution of golf architecture, as a leader in it, as a follower in it? I know Scott's been, you know, very heavily involved in how golf architecture is presented, and it's almost as, in some ways, as important as the golf architecture itself, how it was intended to play, presenting it in that fashion. You know, people come here from Atlanta, they come play, you know, GCA helps bring people from all around the country here, and they're talking about there's no level lies in Philadelphia. It's firm and fast, the ball's bounding all over the place. Can you put a set, both of your, you know, everybody's sense about where Philadelphia stands in evolution?
Yeah, I would be. No.
Just say yes when you're right. It's not an agreement, you'll be all right.
I should pass this. I probably should pass this on to Gil first, but I'll take a little slap. I mean, I don't necessarily think you should try to separate it region by region that way, because honestly, I mean, in some respects, it played a role in architecture because some terrific architects were spawned by this area.
Breaking Wayne's heart with this response.
I know, I know, but you know, but I'm being, yeah, but I do think there's some, you know, there's some terrific examples of golf architecture here, which is, you know, by various architects, which is really, I guess, maybe the real significance of Philadelphia. But I mean, if you know, then you can go to the far end of Long Island and see Maidstone and the National and Shinnecock, 3 great golf courses, one designed by what's his name, Shinnecock, and you know, so in a sense, you can't do that. I mean,
99% of golfers appreciate good conditioning and good maintenance. 1% probably really appreciate good design, solid design. So I think that really shows, I mean, the role that Scott and his other superintendents play, because we can design the best golf course in the world, but it doesn't play the way that we had intended or hoped that it would. What have we?
That's a big point.
I just took a leak and I was going to segue into.
Well,
Let me say one thing. Let me do this, Joe. Go ahead. What?
You two have never met before tonight?
No, he's been avoiding me. He heard about me. Yeah, yeah.
And you are contemporaries.
Yep.
And you are modernists, and you live here sort of in the same area.
Yep.
And the fact, I mean, when you two want to talk theoretical golf course design, who do you talk to? Why is there not more interplay? I can't believe that. Some job where you.
Well.
I'll give you the answer that I'll make everyone laugh. See, I'm in the society, he's not.
You've taken all my fire. If you want to know
And
the answer to that, Joe.
And I've been avoiding it all my life.
If you want to know the answer to that, the deal is the ASGCA. These guys have got to reinterpret, modernize, and they know it now. This Chad Ritterbush who runs it, they don't even recognize until maybe a year, maybe they still
Not even officially, right?
Restoration architecture. This is
And that's, believe me, it's bullshit. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I was just kidding, really.
Let-
I mean, that has nothing to do with,
Yeah.
don't let this get on.
But they know.
That-
Did you just cut that off?
let me just say one thing in closing. You know, I've mentioned how much I appreciate what you all do and want to meet you all. It's really a lot of fun for me tonight. But you know, I'll introduce Scott. Can I do that? Even though you're the, you know, I've known Scott probably for what, 95 years, something like that, Scott.
A few lifetimes.
A long time. But Scott, it really, you know, we don't get to talk enough, but I just think the world of Scott, and as a technician, as a human being, but just really as a guy in the business who, from my point of view, is constantly walking on the edge, you know, experimenting with his golf course, and there's so much. The golf industry can learn so much from him. I know Gil says this to the superintendent at every club. I said, you know, you're 60% of the success of what we do here today is on your shoulders. Maybe it should be 90%. I don't know. So you probably say 90, but I just say, you know, and it really is. I mean, it's, yeah, he's in the society. He has better training than I do, but the truth, Scott is, you know, a fascinating guy, and as a golf course superintendent, I think one of the real leaders in the business. I mean, I wish, I find there's several of them in Philadelphia that I'm impressed with, but Scott particularly, they almost ought to write a manual on how to, you know, maintain golf courses in a more minimalistic fashion. And we tried to get a little group started several years ago to do that, but anyway, he's an interesting guy, and I'll let you get up here and defend yourself, Scott.